Find a long spine, tuck your chin slightly. You can take your hands to your knees and gently lower your gaze, closing your eyes if you feel comfortable. Just take a moment to feel the floor beneath your legs and your knees, beneath your hips, connecting with your body and with the ground, with the earth. And then we're going to start with a 3-part inhale. So inhale, feel your stomach filling up, your diaphragm, your chest, all the way up to your collarbones, and then let it go with one long, smooth exhale. Inhale again through the nose, through your stomach, your chest, your collarbones, all the way up. And then exhale, one long, smooth breath. Keep going like that. Inhaling through your nose if your sinuses aren't clogged up. And then exhaling through your mouth. We're going to sit here for maybe 5 or 6 more breaths like this while the rest of the class joins us. And again, inhaling, filling up your stomach, filling up your chest, filling up your collarbones all the way to the top, and then exhaling in one long, smooth breath. This is called Viloma breath or 3-part breath. It can be really good to calm yourself down. I recommend trying it if you have trouble falling asleep. It can really calm your nervous system. Let's do 2 more like this. And then inhale, flutter your eyes open. Reach your arms up overhead. Stretch to look up. And exhale, drop to the left. You can drop your arm down, stretch your right side body. Inhale up to center. And exhale, drop to the right, stretching your left side body. Inhale back to center. And we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to start out with some leg stretches. So send your feet long in front of you. Lift your right knee and then take your foot over your leg. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, drop your right arm behind you. Take your left arm and curl it around your knee, hugging it in. Twist to your right. Inhale your arms up overhead. Straighten your right leg. Switch knees. So take your left knee or take your left foot over your right knee. Lift your arms up. Twist to the left, dropping your left arm behind you, hugging your left knee in. Breathe here. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to deepen the twist. Just notice how your hips feel today. Maybe one hip is feeling the stretch more than the other. And then come back forward. And we're going to warm up our ankles a little bit. Point your big toes forward. I'm going to lift up my feet so you can see. Point your pinky toes forward. Point the outside of your ankles forward, and then the inside of your ankles. So we're activating 4 points of our feet. And then you can do one long roll. And then you can switch directions. And drop them back down. And bring your hands out in front of you. Close all your fingers together. Open them out wide. Close your fingers together. Open them out wide. And then just go back and forth as fast as you can. Little blinkers with your fingers. It's going to get harder to coordinate as you go faster. Your brain doesn't really think about this very often. And then interlace your fingers, roll out your wrists in one direction, doing the glow stick or a lightsaber move. And then the other direction. Let's call it a lightsaber move because May the 4th just happened. And I hope you all celebrated. And then reach your arms up overhead. On an inhale, exhale, plant your palms forward, step your legs back, come into tabletop. You can pad your knees if you're having knee problems or if you just like to be gentle toward yourself. And then on an inhale, drop your chest, look forward, roll your shoulder blades back, cow pose. Exhale, curl your spine, look down, cat pose. Inhale, drop the stomach, lift your chest, look up. Really feel your chest reaching forward. And then exhale, curve your spine, look down, suck your belly button toward your spine, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And if you want to work on ankle strength here, you can tuck your toes under while you're doing this. That should give you a little bit more stability. And then for the last two, just do a big roll, rolling your hips and your neck and your spine all together. And then switch directions. Stripper cat. Like you're doing cat-cow, but you're also being kind of sexy. And then energize your fingers. Really plug them into your mat. Plug your thumbs and your whole palm into the mat. And then come forward about 2 inches with your shoulders past your wrists. Exhale, bend halfway. Hold yourself here if you can. Inhale, drop your hips, look up, cobra pose. Exhale, move back into child's pose. Widen your knees, set your forehead on the ground. Relax, breathe here. You can return to child's pose at any point during class if you feel tired or need to catch your breath. And when we do our vinyasa, you can lower your knees and do that half chaturanga like we just did. At any point, you will still be building the muscles on the back of your arm and in your shoulders, but it'll help you build the correct alignment. You can also skip chaturanga at any time and do knees, chest, chin if that's in your practice. And then come back up. Tuck your toes under, raise your knees, come into plank. Breathe in plank. See if you can relax your forehead, relax your jaw, activate your belly button and your abs. Raise your hips. If your hips are dropping down, lower them if your butt's sticking up in the air. Just take a moment to really feel where your body is. And then shift your shoulders forward, lower halfway down, lower all the way down. Rest your forehead on the mat. Send your hands back behind you with your palms face down. Inhale, lift up your forehead, your chest, your shoulders, your hands, and then lift up your toes. Locust pose. And if this feels awkward, you can just sort of readjust yourself, move your hips back and forth, find a comfortable spot. And then exhale, release. Take your hands underneath your shoulder blades, underneath your shoulders. Plug your hands into the mat. Lift up halfway, look forward. Baby cobra. And then exhale, step up into plank. Send your hips high, arms long, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a moment here to really tune in your down dog. So press into your hands, rotate your armpits in towards your face, push further. See if you can push the ground further away, plugging out of your back body. And then feel free to bend your knees, take your feet wider apart, give your hamstrings a little bit more room to stretch out and stretch your back body longer. Once you've found the modification that works for you, just stay here for another breath or two. Really exploring the sensations, your first down dog of class. And then exhale, roll forward into plank like a wave. Lower halfway or all the way down. Lift up into cobra. Tuck your toes, send your hips high, push the ground away. Downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into plank like a wave. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way. And if you lower halfway, drop your feet down, push up your arms straight, look forward, knees off the ground. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And then flip your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your heels high, bend your knees, look forward between your thumbs, step or hop forward to the front of the mat, and then exhale, hang forward, fold. You can micro bend your knees here to release your low back. Lean forward so you're more on the balls of your feet. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the side, lift them up high, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastitihi. You can shut your eyes for a moment. Set an intention for this class. It could be for yourself or someone else. And then open your eyes. Take a moment to really plug your feet into the ground, all four corners of your feet, like we identified earlier when we were warming up our ankles. Lift up your kneecaps. Activate your abs. Check in with your pelvis. Stick your butt out. Tuck your hips under, and then find a neutral spot between the two. Drop your shoulders. Lift your shoulders up all the way to your ears. Roll them back a little bit, and then drop them back down. Sweep your arms up overhead. Inhale, exhale, dive forward, release. Plant your hands, step or hop back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way, chaturanga. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, flip over your toes, send your hips high, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, up on your toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or hop to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, Tadasana, Samastitihi, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Inhale up into Bhujangasana or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, your heels high. Bend your knees. Look forward between your hands. Step or hop to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Reach your arms high. Mini back bend. Look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Return to your intention. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Look up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step or hop back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Lift up into cobra or upward facing dog. Flip over your toes. Send your hips high. Downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bend your knee to your chest. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, bend your knee to your chest and then pull your foot forward, stepping it between your fingertips. Drop your back leg down. Inhale, lift your arms up. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Tuck your back toe for more stability. Reach your arms high, activate your low abs. Look up. Exhale, plant your palms. Step back into down dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to chest, and then pull your foot forward, stepping it between your fingers. Drop your back knee down. Inhale, lift up. Low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Activate your abs. Lift your arms higher. Take a moment to sink lower into the lunge. And then plant your palms and step forward to the front of the mat. Exhale, release, forward fold. Walk your feet about hips distance apart. You can measure with 2 fists between your feet. And then check in to see that the outside edges of your feet are parallel to the outside edges of your mat. And then on an inhale, while you lift up, bend your knees, sink your hips back, sweep your arms forward, lift up, Utkatasana, chair pose with wide legs. See if there's any part of your body that you can relax while in this pose. Maybe it's your forehead, maybe it's your jaw, maybe it's your chest. Lift your chest high, feel easy. Sit a little lower. And then inhale, stand up, lift up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms. Step back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Or you can even just lower an inch if this is hard for you. And then lift up into up dog or cobra. And then exhale, send your hips high, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward between your hands. Take a moment to walk your right leg a little bit to the right. And then lift up into crescent lunge. Feel strong through your back leg. Straighten your back leg. Inhale, look up. Exhale, plant your palms. Step back into plank. Push up into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step your foot forward between your hands. Walk your left foot out a little bit. Inhale, crescent lunge on this side. Straighten your back leg. Breathe here. Knit your upper ribs together a little bit, finding a straight spine. And then exhale. Plant your palms and step your right foot forward to meet your left at the front of the mat. Forward fold. Interlace your hands at the back, at your low back. And then exhale, straighten your arms, lift your arms up. Keep folding forward. You can bend your right knee and look towards your left. You can bend your left knee and look towards your right. And then exhale, release your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward, sink your hips low. Reach your chest high, reach your arms high. Utkatasana, fierce pose, chair pose on this side. I guess it's not this side, it's just like this time. The second one. And then inhale, stand up, look up. Exhale, forward, fold, plant your palms. Step back into plank. Lower halfway or all the way down. Lift up into cobra or upward facing dog. And then send your hips high, downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward, drop your back heel, and lift up into warrior one. So take a moment, especially if you have a quote female pelvis or were assigned female at birth, you can walk your right foot a little bit to the right, taking a wider stance here. Look down that your knee is tracking towards your toes, over your ankle. Lift your arms up again. And then send your arms behind you, tipping your chest forward, reaching your arms out. And then come up onto your back toes and start to take little hops forward. Coming on to your right foot, finding a spot at the ground to stare at. And when you're ready, you can straighten your left leg, straighten your right leg. Bring your hands to prayer. Warrior three. If you need more balance, you can send your arms out behind you in airplane. See if you can drop your left hip down a little bit. Flex your back foot, point it towards your ground. If you fall out of it, that's fine. Just meet your body where it is today. Balance is hard. And then drop your hands to the ground. Lift your back leg a little higher. Keep dropping your outer hip to the ground so your hips are even. Bend your heel to your glute. Start to bend your standing leg. And then take your lifted knee outside of your right ankle and then sit back down on the ground. And you should be in this version of Matsyendrasana, Lord of the Fishes pose. Lift your arms up overhead. Send your left arm back. And then you can, lift back up overhead. Send your right arm back. And then you can take your left arm and either hug your right knee in, or you can take your elbow outside of your right knee and twist to the right. And then turn to the left, plant your palms. You can lower down, counter twist. Come back up. Plant your palms in the ground in front of you and rock forward so your weight comes onto your bent knee. See if you can bend your other foot out. So right now your knees are sort of stacked on top of each other. And then try to sit back down. It might not quite work for everyone, and if it doesn't, you can take your lower leg and straighten it. This is cow face pose, Gomukhasana, because I guess your legs look like a cow face. And you can just put your arms behind you and lift up, or you can exhale to lean forward if you have more space here. And see if you can find steadiness and ease while you lean into the difficulty of the stretch. Feel ease while your body holds still. And then rock forward, plant your palms, step back into plank or down dog. Walk your feet toward your hands at the front of the mat, and then lift all the way up, stand up, look at your hands. Exhale, bring your palms together, Samastitihi, return to your intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, plant your palms, step back, move through your flow, meet in down dog. Lift your left leg high. Exhale, step your foot forward between your hands. Drop your right heel down and lift up into warrior one. Take a moment to heel toe your left leg a little bit out, especially if you have a wider hip and pelvis anatomically. Take a moment here in warrior one. Knit your upper ribs together, activate your low abs, lift your arms up higher, sink lower into your front leg. Or do whatever version of this feels best for you and is within your reach today. Send your palms face down, back by your hips, lean your chest forward. I stepped back because I'm in a small space, so you might need to do that too, depending on your house. And then come up onto your back toes and start to take little hops forward off of your back feet, grounding into your left foot. And then on an inhale, straighten your front leg, send your back leg out, flex your foot, toes pointed down. Warrior three. You can take your hands to heart center. If your balance feels very strong, you can send your arms out in front of you. That's harder. Take a moment to drop your right hip down so your hips are even. Feel like you're stamping into an invisible wall behind you. If you fall out of it, just get right back in it. Or you can go ahead and go into standing splits, which actually I'm going to invite us all to come into standing splits now. So drop your hands down, lift your back leg higher if you can. Take your forehead toward your standing leg, and then bend your right heel towards your right glute. Start to bend your front leg. You're coming down towards seated, and then lower your right knee outside of your left ankle and sit back down. Matsyendrasana on the other side. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, left hand behind you, right arm hugging your knee in. To deepen the twist or to get more of a shoulder stretch, you can walk your elbow inside your knee and push open from here. See if you can close your eyes, relax your face. Find a way to make this stretch a resting pose. And then untwist, twist to the other side, plant your palms, counter stretch, lower down. Walk your hands in front of you, lean forward onto the palms of your hands. You can walk your right foot out so that your knees are stacked on top of each other, and then try to sit back down. You can take a wider stance with your feet. You can straighten your lower leg. Just put your arms behind you, lift up your chest, find a long spine. Breathe into the stretch. Notice if your hips feel different on this side. And if this is like impossible for you, first of all, that's totally fine. All bodies are different. Show yourself compassion. Second of all, you can just go back into the Matsyendrasana stretch that we did before. And then walk your hands forward, plant your palms, and lower yourself into a child's pose. Rest your forehead on the mat. Take your knees a little wider. Use your hands to push your hips back, drop your forehead, and then see if you can relax everything in your body and just breathe. Inhale, rock forward onto your hands, tuck your toes under, send your hips high, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, knee to chest. Pull your foot forward between your hands, drop your right heel down, lift up into warrior two. Look over your left hands. Push into the outside edge of your right foot, your back foot. Check to see that your knee is pointed in the same direction as your toes and isn't bent over your ankle. Lift up through your lower abs. Lift up through your chest. Feel light through your chest. See if you can find steadiness and ease. Inhale. Flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior, reaching up, 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 and back. Exhale back to warrior two. Take your left arm to your left leg. Reach your right arm over your right ear. Side angle. Utthita Parsvakonasana. And if you want, you can take your left arm to the ground or to a block or tent up on your fingertips to deepen your stretch. But if you do this, make sure that you're still pulling your chest open, pulling your top shoulder almost toward the ceiling. Strengthen through your legs. And I invite you to take any arm variation you like here. You can come into a half bind or a full bind. Lift back up into warrior two. Cartwheel your palms to your front foot. Come up under your back toes and then step forward to the front of the mat. Lift up into standing. On an inhale, so take your hands on your hips. Take your feet about hips width distance apart. And then on an inhale, lift your left knee up so your knee is in line with your hip. Flamingo pose. You can send your arms high. And then take your left arm to your left knee. And you can open it up to the side. And if you have a strap, you can wrap it around your foot and straighten your leg. I'll give you a moment to do that. Or you can grab your toe or your foot and straighten your leg and work on a balance pose here. Find one spot to look at in the room. If you fall out of it, just get right back in it or get into a variation that works for you. And then bring your knee back to face forward. Drop it down. Shake out your knees. Do little hip circles. Shake it all out. Inhale, lift your right knee up. Take your right arm to your right knee. Find a spot to look at, your drishti. Focus on that spot. Strengthen into your standing leg. And then when you feel steady, open your knee out to the side. You can use a prop here. You can grab for your foot, or you can just stay here. I invite you to challenge yourself, but also to meet your body where it is today. We have the right to our actions, but not the fruit of our actions, which means it won't always work out when we try, but that's totally fine. You just get right back up. And then bring your hand back to your knee, bring your knee forward, drop your legs down, shake it out, bounce your knees up and down, Shakira hips, shake your hips out, dance party, quick dance break. And then meet us back in downward facing dog, moving through a flow if you want to clear some space between the two sequences, or skip it if you're feeling tired. On an inhale, reach your right leg high. Exhale, knee to chest, drop your foot between your hands, drop your left heel down, lift up into warrior two on this side. Stamp into your back foot, the outer edge of your back foot, really strengthen that leg. Strengthen your back glute in order to take some pressure off of your bent knee. And then just check in that your knee is pointed in the same direction as your toes and isn't going too far forward over your ankle. Lift up through your arms, feel light through your chest. On an inhale, flip your right palm to the sky. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Lifting up, 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 and back. More up than back, side body stretch. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, take your right arm to your right knee, send your left arm near your left ear, making one long line from the outside of your foot to the top of your fingertips. Side angle pose, Utthita Parsvakonasana. And you can take your right arm and drop it down to the ground, or a block, or tent up onto your fingertips. Keep your chest and your side body activated, opening up. You can take your arm behind you if you want to half bind, and if full bind is in your practice, I invite you to do that here. Start to unbind if you did, and then come back up into warrior two. Cartwheel your arms down to frame your front foot, lift up onto your back heel, and then step forward to the front of your mat. And slowly lift up into Tadasana, standing pose, mountain pose. Lift up your right knee first. Actually, no, sorry. I got confused. It's hard to be a yoga teacher, y'all. Okay, so take your left knee. Don't take your right knee, bend it, point it out to the side, drop your ankle, drop your heel above your right ankle. And then if you want, you can bring your foot to your leg below your knee. And if it's in your practice, you can reach down and grab your foot and bring it above your knee, stamping your foot into your standing leg, rooting down through all four corners of your foot. You can engage your kneecap and your glute of your standing leg for stability. You can press your foot into your thigh for stability, engaging your abs, finding one spot to look at. You bring your hands to heart center or lift them up overhead. And I just encourage you to be compassionate to yourself. Balance is a really tricky thing. It can be influenced by our mood. by our concentration, by our sinuses, or anything that's going on in your head. It's spring, so you might have sinus pressure up here. So if your pose isn't perfect today, just be kind to yourself, get back in it, meet yourself where you are. And if you lifted your arms up, you can bring your palms to touch, bring them back to heart center, take your knee to face forward, drop your leg down, shake it out, bobble your knees back and forth, do some Shakira hips, snake figure eights, dance party, loosen it up. I've been doing dance party with my prenatal student, and I've discovered it's just so lovely to do in the middle of class, so I'm bringing it to all of you. And then we're going to do tree on the other side. So start out with your knee bent and lift up your heel, and then pivot your knee outward, dropping your lifted heel above your ankle. And this is tree pose for some people, and that's totally fine. You can bring your foot below your knee or reach down and lift your foot above your knee. And I give those directions very specifically because if you start to put your foot on your knee, you are going to hurt your knee eventually, even if not today. So if that's as high as your foot can go, then just take a lower stance with your foot. Root down through your leg. And if you want, you can lift your arms up overhead. You can open up your arms or touch your palms. And then just feel yourself rooting down through the earth, connecting to the earth. And then feel the top of your head and your fingers reaching up toward the sky. Reaching out in both directions like a tree. Imagining all the trees outside. And this is where yoga gets kind of metaphysical, but also really lovely. So if it seems silly to you, you can laugh. Laughing is good. And then bring your hands back to heart center or to your hips. Bring your knee forward, drop it down. Shake your knees out. Wiggle your hips in a figure eight. Dance like your Shakira. Any kind of dance break. All right. And then find your way back to the floor. Maybe start at hands and knees to be gentle to yourself. And then tuck your toes under. Come up into plank. Shift your weight forward. Lower halfway down. Lower all the way down to the ground. You can interlace your fingers behind your back in the unusual way. Start to straighten out your elbows, lifting your shoulders up and back, your shoulder blades toward each other. Lift your forehead up, and then use your arms and the strength of your arms to peel your rib cage off the ground. And then lift your toes off the ground. And if you need to stop and readjust so you're more comfortable, feel free to do that. It's not supposed to hurt. And then notice if your body rocks with your inhale and your exhale. Just notice how you feel in this pose. And then exhale, release. You can windshield wiper your legs back and forth. Take your hands under your shoulder blades. Lift up into a baby cobra. So that just means not straightening your arms all the way, looking up a little bit. Tucking your back toes under. Push up through plank. Send your hips high. Downward facing dog. Just take a moment to notice if this down dog feels different than the one at the beginning of class. Maybe you have more flexibility and it's easier. Maybe you're exhausted and it's harder. Just notice where you are. And then inhale, lift your heels high, bend your knees, look between your hands, step or hop forward to the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Sit your hips back. Lift your chest up, lift your arms up, and come into chair pose, Utkatasana or fierce pose. And then shift all of your weight onto your left foot. And then, actually, no, we're going to start here. Keep your weight on both feet. And then just send your arms out in front of you. And take your left arm and place it underneath your right arm. Bend both of your elbows. Place the backs of your hands back to back. And if you can, reach around and start to touch your palms. Lift your elbows up shoulder height. Sink lower into your chair. Shift your weight to your left foot. Lift up your right foot and then hook your knee over your right foot and sit back lower. Lifting your arms higher. If you can, see if you can wrap your foot around your leg a second time. If you can't, that's totally fine. That is an advanced practice. And just breathe here. Eagle pose. If you fall out, just get right back in. You can bend forward, taking your knees towards your elbows, rounding your spine, and then lift back up. Unwind your arms, lift up, unwind your legs, come to Tadasana. Shake out your knees, shake out your arms. Mini dance party, relax everything. Take a deep breath. And bring your hands to heart center, just find your breath. And then reach your arms up high, forward fold, send your arms slightly behind you, brush the ground, and then bend your knees, lift back up, chair pose. Send your arms in front of you. You can take a high chair here if you don't want to burn out your legs before we get into eagle. And then take your right arm underneath your left, bend your elbows, place the backs of your hands back to back. You can reach around and face your palms together. If you can't do that, you can go back to the move before, or you can just grab either of your shoulders here if this arm pose is really beyond you. Neither option is better or worse. And then sit down a little lower, shift your weight to your right foot, lift up your left knee, bend it over your right, tuck your toe back. Find one spot on the wall to stare at, sink lower, lift your elbows a little higher. Use your breath to steady your body. And then see if you can find that same ease in this pose that we've been finding in other poses. You can bend forward if you like, bringing your elbows to your knee, curling your back, and then lift back up, unwind your arms, unwind your knees, sweep your arms up overhead, touch your palms, bring your hands to heart center, shake your knees up and down, back and forth, Shakira out your hips, dance break. And then let's just do a really big dance break. So sweep your arms down by your feet, bend your knees, come into a yoga squat. And then coming out of the yoga squat, just kind of bounce your hips, moving your arms up, moving your arms however you like. Reach up to the sky. Exhale, bend forward. Bend your knees, sinking your hips down between your heels, bringing your hands together, Malasana, or garland pose, or yogi squat. And then dance yourself all the way up to standing, however you like. All right. And then once you're here, Lift your arms high. Sit back into chair as far as you can. And if you can sit all the way back, that's fine. Or you can sort of put your fingers behind you and keep leaning back until your fingers touch the ground, bringing your booty to the ground. Booty is like the universal fitness teacher word for butt. And then lift up your toes off the ground. You can take your hands behind your knees, straighten your back, point your toes. Boat pose. If you want, you can release your hands, palms face up. If you want, you can try to straighten your legs, but don't curve your back. So I'm not quite there, so this is just what I'm doing. And then slowly lower to the ground. Hover. And then exhale. Roll all the way onto your back. Take your feet to your hips so that your feet are on the ground. Drop your hips to the left. Take your arms out to a T or a cactus shape, depending on how much room you have in your house, and look over to the right. And if there's another version of this reclined side twist that you like better, you can do that instead. And then inhale your knees back over your hips. Exhale, drop your knees to the right. Look over your arms to the left. Or take any variation of this that you know from another class if you prefer. And then bring your knees back through center and do any stretch or move that you feel like you need to do to make the class feel complete. It might be happy baby. And I'm just going to set up for a restorative option if you want during Shavasana. And if you don't do it now or you don't have the stuff near you right now, I really encourage you to try to lay in this pose for like 10 minutes tonight before you go to bed. It can really calm your nervous system. But your options are basically you can come up against a wall and bring your feet against the wall, maybe put a blanket or pillow underneath your butt, and then just lay here with your feet up. And if you don't have a wall, you can use a couch or the edge of your bed or a chair. And then I took another pillow or another blanket and put it under my head like a pillow. You can curl up the sides around your head to make it more like an airplane blanket. And if you have like an eye mask or a hoodie or something comfy to put on, or just a blanket, you could do that too. And if you're just laying on the ground, take your feet really wide, take your arms really wide, tuck your chin towards your chest, close your eyes. And I know for some people, closing the eyes can be more scary. And if that's you, you could just keep them open, but with a really soft gaze. So you're not focusing on anything in particular. And we're going to take about 5 minutes here, which means we're going to end about a minute or two after 1. So if you have to go, that's totally fine. I understand. Start to take slow, even breaths. See if you can make your inhale the same length as your exhale. And also just like feel free to mute me and lay here for 5 minutes if you prefer. That's totally fine. See if you can notice how your toes feel, how your shins feel. Focus on your hips. Breathe into your torso and your chest. Notice your shoulders. How do they feel? Notice your elbows and your upper arms. And then take your awareness to your lower arms, the backs of your hands, the palms of your hands, your fingers, your whole hand, your whole arm, your whole body. Focus on your throat. And as you breathe, how does your breath feel coming in and out of your throat? How do your mouth and your nose feel? And see, how does your jaw feel? Are your teeth clenched? Can you unclench them? Is your forehead wrinkling? Can you soften it? And this one is weirder, but do you have any tension in your scalp? Can you let go of that? Can you just imagine what that would feel like to let go of that? And start to let your awareness fill the room around you. Notice the temperature. Notice any sounds or smells. Hums of any appliances. Breathing of other people or pets. And then just think about whatever you want for the next minute, letting that attention wander. Start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take one hand behind the back of your neck. You can roll over to your side. Rest here for a second. Keeping your gaze soft. Push yourself up into a comfortable seated position. You can bring your hands to heart center or take one hand to your heart and one to your belly. And then pick one person in your life and internally say to them, may you be happy. May you be safe. May you be free from pain. And then focus on yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be free from pain. Bring your hands to heart center. Thank you for practicing with me today. Thank yourself for showing up today. Namaste. Thanks, guys. Yay. Happy Wednesday.